Hey guys, how you doing, and welcome to an exclusive first look at a Dwarf and Karak siege on Total War Warhammer, and I'm super excited to be showing you this today as they look absolutely fantastic. Of course, we've seen the underground battles before with the ambush at the Thundering Falls, but this is the first time we've got to see an actual Karak under siege. So this is footage of me playing a Vampire Count campaign at the studios a couple of days ago, and as you can see here, this is a brief glimpse of the campaign map for the Vampire Count before the actual siege begins. And I've included this so you can get a feel for the locations and the territories that they currently control at the beginning of the campaign. They seem to have conveyed the gloom and darkness of the faction extremely well, with the misty and lifeless landscape and the sprawling marshes around their towns and cities. And I'm sure you'll agree, the map looks gorgeous. And just to note, this build of Warhammer is about 2 to 3 months old that I'm playing on at the moment. As I was speaking to Darren from Creative Assembly, he was saying that there has been many improvements and refinements in terms of visuals, bugs and balancing with where they are now. And this is great news considering there's still 2 months to go before release. He also mentioned that magic has been buffed considerably since this build, making it more effective and I believe less chance of it backfiring or misfiring when you cast it. And it'd be interesting to see to what level this will be and how much of an impact this will have on the gameplay itself. Now this is a full battle, guys. There's no editing at all here, just pure 100% siege gameplay for you to enjoy. It's pretty close to the wire stuff as well, not being clear to the end which way it's going to go, but the main thing here is for you to get a little taster of the potential of how epic these Karak sieges, or sieges in general, could be in Total War Warhammer. So sit back and I hope you enjoy it. Okay guys, here we go. Behold the Dwarf and Karak of Zhufbar, and how fantastic does this look. I was super impressed. The detail, the architecture, yeah, first class. Beautifully rendered on the battle map, I feel. I mean, the columns in the background there, the lighting coming through the ceiling, the caverns, the detail, just amazing. And don't forget, as I said, this is an old build, so the lighting, the visuals apparently look better than this. I mean, this alone for me is pretty good. So can you imagine what it's going to be like, hopefully, when we get the final game? But yes, here we go. We're going to play the battle now for you. As I said, this is me recording it a few days ago at Creative Assembly. Just want to quickly say as well, apologies if you feel the camera work is a bit jittery or a bit rushed. Basically, I only had 30 minutes to record as much gameplay as I could, so I did feel a bit under pressure to get as much out or as much recorded as I possibly could for you guys to enjoy. Obviously, when I play it at home and I'm a lot more relaxed, I'm sure, you know, I'll take my time a lot more and you guys will be able to take in a lot more. But yeah, this army was basically, the main bulk of it was a mixture of skeletal warriors and zombies, because you've got to remember this is very early on in Manfred von Carstein's campaign. But look at that Vargulf. I'll talk to you about that in a second. Looks awesome though, doesn't it? But yeah, because it's obviously so early on in the campaign, we've got very early tier units. No Grave Guards or Black Knights apparent at the moment. They're going to be late game units. So this is why you're probably thinking, God, this is quite a basic army. Well, that is why, ladies and gentlemen. But that Vargulf, basically, I found this out as well. Darren was telling me that each legendary lord, I believe, has a unique, or not a unique, but a specific unit under their army or under their control. So, for example, Manfred von Carstein gets the Vargulf, and I think one of the Greenskin armies gets like the Arachnarak. Now, these are late tier units, but obviously you can get them and have them in your army at the beginning of your campaign, because they are just exclusive to a particular legendary lord. So I thought that was really good. So this is why I am able to lay siege to this Karak without any siege equipment, essentially, because Mr. Vargulf here can smash down the gate. Now this was mentioned to us on the siege blog that was out I think it was last week. I did a video on it, and it mentioned on there that large units like giants, This Vargulf, I don't know if the Ragnarok spiders can do it, but they can essentially smash down enemy gates. I love it. It sounds epic. It sounds like Lord of the Rings, doesn't it? With the giants smashing through the gates at Minas Tirith. But this looks superb, and you'll see in a second. This Vargulf will zoom in. I'm going to zoom in a second here. Love the detail on the gate, by the way. The architecture and the imagery there looks outstanding. So yes, he marches in and look at this. Bang! I'm going to smash your gates in half. And he's going to do that right now. So the Vargulf gets the job done in a second. And as that is being done, I'm now approaching with my bat to try and take out their ranged units on the walls. I'm bringing in my zombies and my skeletal warriors, which will then mount the walls with their ladders. And you'll see that all happen in a second. But yeah, really impressed, and I thought the performance of it was not bad at all, actually. And I did check as well with Darren, and he said that this battle is being run on a 980 graphics card, an Nvidia 980 GTX, not a Ti, just a 980. So that gives you a bit of an impression or a feel for what the performance is like on that type of graphics card. And this is good as well. This is yes, Baladun Stoneheart. This is the lord who was under the command of the Dwarven army at this siege. So it's me with my Vargulf taking him on head on there, which is pretty good. And this was, I believe as well, these graphical settings were set to ultra as well, so nice, good quality, but at the same time the performance isn't dropping. It's quite solid. I mean, okay, a 980 graphics card isn't cheap. It is quite a high-end graphics card, but it gives you a nice indication. If you want to know what the system specs are for Warhammer, they are out. I'll link them down in the description as well if you want to check them out. But here we go. Let's go back to the siege itself. Let's concentrate on the epic clash here. So yes. Oh, look at that Vargulf. He's got hold of a Dwarven warrior there. He's smashing it on the ground. I love the animations. But yes, we're trying to mount as much pressure as we can on, notice, the wider walls. Much more of a wider range or wider area for units to clash on the walls than in previous Total War games. I like it. Look at this, the skeletal warriors marching up, getting up those ladders now to try and face the dwarven axe warriors on the walls there. Well, we're still bringing in our skeletal spearmen and our ghouls. We've got some ghouls, of course, under our control as well, so they're going to try and push on those units on the left flank as well. Now I'm starting to use, which is very important in Warhammer, use as much of your magic that is available to you via your legendary lord as much as possible, basically. So I'm launching this sort of casting spell that's going to try and drain the enemy's health away with Manfred von Karstein. Now he's got two at the moment. He's got two schools of magic. He's got the Law of Vampire and the Law of Death, I believe. Now, the Law of Vampire, I think, is the destructive spells, and then you've got the Law of Vampires, which is obviously so yeah, Law of Vampires is your sort of, in this case, a healing spell, and the Law of Death is your destruction to try and take down the enemy's health. And we'll see it in action a little bit more in a second. So Manfred is battling it out on his own. He's got the skeletal spearmen supporting, but he's trying to take out as much warriors as he can. This is the healing one now. I'm going to try and get this spell to be cast on a unit around in the vicinity in a second. I think I do it on my skeletal spearmen, if I'm correct. Oh no, it's on these units, I think. Where do I go with it? There we go. The crypt ghouls, they get it. So yeah, trying to boost their health up as much as possible. There you go. There's the spell being activated. You'll see the health bar going back up. Now we're trying to take these units over to the left flank of the wall. Get them down, get them off those walls as quickly as possible, and then try and get them into the capture point, which is in the centre of the Karak. Now we're facing some Quaulers there. We don't want to be dealing with them for too long. And the problem is with these dwarves, we've seen it before with the ambush at the Thundering Falls, they are very heavily defensive units. They will stand their ground. They are stout defenders. So even their skirmish units will do a fantastic job of holding their ground. And that's the problem you're going to face against the dwarves. I will love it. I mean, if I do a dwarven campaign, which I'm thinking I'm probably going to do, as well as a vampire campaign, that will play into my hands. I will love that. I love sitting back. I love holding the line, and that's what dwarves can do so well. Anyway, we're fighting against them. We need to try and crack them down. These trails as well, notice them quite visually there. You know, you can see them. They are not refined yet. That is something that you can turn down or turn off, I believe, in the options. So if you think, God, that's quite bold at the moment, those trails. Don't worry, they will be something you can turn off. That's what CA did confirm as well. So let's try and activate the destructive spell again. I can't. Where did I go? I can't. Unfortunately, because I'm so engaged in the battle, you probably have to pause it. Unfortunately, just to try and look at the spells. I was literally clicking on them as quick as I could because it was that fast paced. Whoa, hang on. You know, you've got to really be at your wits here. You can't stand around for too long. But you can see that the CJI playing not too bad. They've kept a few units at the walls there to try and defend the gatehouse for as long as they possibly can. They brought a few units back to the capture points, so they're trying to realise, or they're realising now that they need to pull back to try and hold there for as long as they possibly can, but then still committing some to that entrance at the front gate there. So it's a nice utilisation of their units to not just go into one mass, to spread them out effectively if they can. And yet it's really getting quite tense now because the balance is very much 50-50 at the moment. You noticed obviously with the zombies, they are very much a meat shield. You know, you just send them in to try and keep the enemy busy, and try and absorb a lot of the enemy's kills, or your kills basically. And that's a quite nice animation or artwork there. It seems to be that the dwarves have dug into a mine there and have either stopped working on it, or it's part of an excavation they're working on. As I say, I like the detail that seems to be apparent here. Okay guys, so you can see here the dwarven units trying to desperately hold on to the gatehouse and fight against that skeletal warrior unit and Manfred von Carstein himself. And I just remembered, yes, the names of those two spells. It's come back to me in a vision. Basically, Spirit Leech is the damage spell. That's the name of the damage spell. And then his health regeneration spell is called the Invocation of Nehek. I think that's how you pronounce it. So they are the two spells that Manfred von Carstein has at his disposal at the beginning of the campaign. Obviously, as the campaign progresses, he will have a lot more to use. I mean, I've seen the skill tree that the Legendary Lord, or the Manfred von Carstein, has, and it's so in depth. I'm sorry I didn't show it to you in this video. Obviously, I wanted to show you the siege more. But yeah, you'll be so impressed. The amount of skill trees or skills available to the Legendary Lords is so in depth. It does really create that role play element in Warhammer. It's really good. I'm super impressed with that. So yeah, great work on that. But yeah, what you've got to be careful of, and I feel I neglected this with this battle, is the fact that be careful with your magic. Obviously use it, but don't overuse it, especially early on. And I think I did that. I mean, obviously you've got to be strategic. Look at that kick animation, superb. You've got to be careful, you've got to be strategic with your units, but now you've got to be strategic with when and how you use your magic. It's a massive factor in Warhammer, and I feel I used it too much early on, because I'm sure, as you probably will be aware, you know that by now, that depending on where you fight on the campaign map, the battle itself, it affects how much winds of magic you will have to use. And no matter what it is, if it's high or low, you still got a limited amount. So if you spam it early on, it could be the difference between victory and defeat, I feel. And I think that's something that I didn't utilise well enough on this battle. I mean, obviously, it's one of my first times playing it. You learn from your mistakes. I'm sure that would be something I can improve on. But look at this animation now. Bang! Look at the impact of the Vargulf there. That is so impressive. I love that aspect of Warhammer so far. The cavalry charges are much more improved, I feel, and that sort of impact animation is definitely something that has been worked on for Warhammer. You can see that so clearly there. But what I'm doing now is I'm bringing Manfred von Carstein across to support the Vargulf, because as you will know probably as well, the vampire units don't rout, they just decay. As their morale drops, as their health drops, they decay and just fall to dust in the ground. So what I'm doing here is I'm bringing Manfred von Carstein across to try and boost the Vargulf's morale, essentially. I'm also trying to boost my own health up as well, because I've realised my health is quite low. So I'm implementing the Invocation of Nehek onto my onto Manfred himself there. See that the dust coming off him as the arrows hit him. Very impressive. But what also Manfred has got at his disposal is a spell called the Master of the Black Arts, which basically tries to boost the availability of the Winds of Magic back to him. There you go. I then initiated at that point there. So it tries to boost up and give me some more Winds of Magic to be able to use against these Dwarven units in the centre here. But look at this volley from the Thunderers in a second. Bang! Oh my god, that is awesome. What a great animation. And that essentially is where the battle is lost. A charge in, it's too late, and instantly Manfred goes to his knees and the Vargulf just crumbles to dust. And you can see there, it is a valiant defeat in the end. I could have played it better. It was my first time playing as Siege. Obviously, I'm going to be making mistakes and I've got a lot to learn. You learn from your mistakes. Obviously, the experience is a teacher of all things, as Julius Caesar once said, and that is definitely the case here. I feel obviously I was a bit rushed, as I said to you at the beginning, with the time limit I had. But yeah, I'm sure I can take a lot from this battle. But it was more, as I said to you at the beginning, to showcase how epic, or potentially how epic, these sieges will be. In this case, the Dwarven Karak. Looking at the units though, in terms of performance, I always like to look at my units' performance before I finish these battles. You can see there, Manfred von Karstein, 75 kills, just himself. My Vargulf, 153. And also, look at that, the Cryptic Ghouls, 157 units. So they could be quite a powerful unit indeed. The zombies living up to what I said to you at the beginning, just basically being a meat shield. 2, 15, 33, 0 for one unit. So yeah, very much a basic unit. You want to be getting rid of them quite early on in your campaign, I should imagine. They are your very basic unit. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. A good performance from the Dwarves. It was always going to be against me, I feel, in some ways, because, as I said to you as well in the battle itself, a lot of these Dwarven units are so great defending. I've got very much more basic units at my disposal, and that, I think, played into the Dwarven's hands there. But I hope you enjoyed it, guys. If you did, please do drop the video a like, share it around, spread the word about how epic these sieges could potentially be. Good behaviour from the AI. Hopefully that is still being worked on. I said to you at the beginning as well, this is quite an old build. Can't wait to see what they've been improving from this build until now. It's very exciting times indeed, guys. But yeah, that is it. Please let me know your comments down below. I'd love to hear what you thought about the video and what you thought about the siege itself. And yeah, I hopefully will be back soon with some more epic sieges for you to digest. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. But until next time, this is Warrior Spotter for now saying farewell.